first ride review on my channel. My name is Marshall3498, and today, as you can see, I'm test riding a 2019 790 KTM Adventure S, not the R. This is a little more road-focused bike than the R. The main difference is in the R, smaller tinted windshield, different off-road mirrors. They're more of a taller mirror, and they're round. The R versus the S, when I'm riding the R, has about an inch more suspension travel, and a different, they're both spoke wheels, but the R has a more aggressive tire than what this comes with. And other than that, and the R has a fixed one-piece seat instead of a two-piece rear. This front seat is adjustable. As you can see, this gap right now, it's on the lowest position. Seat height on this bike, don't quote me if I'm wrong in the comments. Seat height on this particular, the S, not the R, is in the low setting, I believe, is 32 3/4 of an inch, and on the high setting, it's like 33. And the seat height on the R is just, not adjustable, and it's a one-piece seat with a little back hump for the passenger and help you keep separated to allow you to move around on the bike more. It's one piece. It's like 34.5, so it's a little bit taller. I myself am 5'10" tall. I weigh 175 pounds, and with this particular bike in this configuration, I don't have on riding boots. I have just like a riding shoe on today. I can touch with the balls of my feet. It's not, the bike's real, the bike only weighs like 450 pounds, and these two things right here, one on either side, is actually the fuel tanks on this bike. It's designed for give a low center of gravity, not only on-road but mainly off-road, what KTMs are known for. I've rode a few minutes already to up here where I'm at on the Blue Ridge Parkway in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm going to jump on the bike and I'll give you some more of my first impressions after only riding about 10 minutes, and we'll go on from there. This is not going to be a super technical video. I do know some specs about this bike, but this is not going to be a spec-filled video. This is going to be about the way I feel like the way it rides. For frame of reference, I've been riding now. This is my 4th riding season. So I'm not a newbie rider, but I'm not super experienced. And I will not be taking this bike off-road because this is a demo bike. The fine people up here at Euro Ass Sports in Asheville have been kind enough to let me have it for an hour or two, and I'm going to do my best to take it back just like I got it from them in one piece and not covered in dirt. So if you're looking for a dirt off-road review, this is not it. So let's jump on and get on with it. Bike is, though, even though the tall seat height, it's not hard for me to throw my leg over to get on and to get back off like some of the bikes. They have a little bit taller seat than that, than this one does. But TFT display, like every, bike, especially some of the mid-level adventure bikes and up are BMWs. The 750 and 850 GS both have TFT displays. This one is very clear. Some of the font on video is not going to show up, like you can't read some of the stuff on the side, but in person it's fine without the GoPro fisheye effect. I can read all this stuff, like this is trip 1, the date, odometer. Of course, you can figure all this however you want. The battery voltage, time, the outside temperature. We're in ride mode street right now. ABS is in road mode. And TMC, I think that's I don't know what the M is, but I know that's traction control. That's on. So, and see the ABS and traction control light are on until we get a move in and they get calibrated itself. I don't know if this bike has it, but I'm not going to be testing it long enough, just an hour or two, to find out and go through the menus and stuff to show you that stuff. Like I said, this is more of a first ride thing than a lot of technical stuff or stuff about the screen. But the bike, low speed, is just, it's really light. I myself have a Yamaha FC600, which is, kind of a standard. It only weighs 450 pounds, and it wears a low weight like this does, but nowhere near as low as weight this does. This feels, I wouldn't say it feels like a 250, but it definitely does not feel like a mid-size adventure bike by the way it carries its weight. Because the fuel tank's being down low, that does add, that's its claim to fame, and that's the way KTM designed it to be better off-road for, low speed stability. The clutch on this thing is super lightweight. Like, it feels like a clutch, like a 250 It's actually a cable clutch. I'm not 100% sure if it has a slipper clutch on it. So I don't know if that's how they get their lighter clutch pull or what, but it is like ridiculous. Like you could do this with maybe not quite your pinky, but pretty close. Brakes feel really good. They're the typical, mid-level and up brakes. Dual disc up front, ABS front and rear, obviously. Steel braided lines. Do believe they are. I'm pretty sure. But they're KTM branded brakes. They're not a Brembo, but they definitely have, they're real progressive, real good feel. And they definitely have a lot of bite. I mean, that right there is, oh, yeah, that's a lot of brake, and that's nowhere near pulling the lever very hard. So far, I've been really impressed with this bike. The only negative that I've found so far is coming up here to the Blue Ridge Parkway so I can get away from traffic and just ride and talk and not have to focus on a town I'm not familiar with, and it just makes it easier for me to do a ride review. And y'all get to see a little bit of the countryside as I hear me give you some commentary and first impressions about the bike. My only negative I found so far is the windshield. I'm not sure. It is adjustable in two different settings, a high and a low, but you have to have tools and you have to take it out of a hole and move it up a whole hole, so you can't do it on the fly. You can't even do it without tools, which is kind of a bummer. But, windshields, they're like seats. Everybody's going to change them what they want. Everybody's going to have different tanks. This being the S model, it has more of a touring windshield. It provides a good amount of wind protection. Like, I don't feel anything in my head right now. I feel it like on my forearms and lower part of my chest, and feel a little bit around my feet, of course, but gas tanks and stuff block a lot of that wind off your legs. But like from mid shin down, I feel some wind in my legs, but it's not horrible. But my only complaint is around 55 or 60 on the 4-lane coming up here. Like right now, I'm starting to feel it a little bit, even at like almost 50. The way the wind turbulence starts to get like dirty air and helmet buffeting coming to your helmet, it started to do stuff that I've never experienced on a bike. Instead of just like, the kind of bobblehead thing that a lot of y'all rider are used to, it started like vibrating my helmet. It's kind of strange. I don't know why it would do that. The way the windshield looks, it looks like it does a good job, but I think you don't realize it going slower until you get up some more speed, but I think it forces a lot of air right to your helmet. So like maybe the mid part of your helmet, and that's why it gives you that sensation that your helmet's vibrating. It's kind of disorienting, to say the least. But, that could be fixed. That's the only really gripe you can have with it. But these bikes also are available with a quick shifter for up and down and cruise control as an option. I don't know if either one has this. I've just rode it like a regular bike. It's not mine, so I'm not going to try. It could be off in the menu, and I could try it and, mess up the transmission. That's just, it ain't worth it just to test it. Not for me. But yeah, mirrors are very good. They look kind of strange off the bike, but they do a really good job of seeing good picture behind you without seeing much elbow. Even at higher RPMs, they don't vibrate anything. Excuse me. But they do a really good job. I've been pretty impressed with the bike overall. I don't know how it would do off-road on the current suspension setup it's at. Of course, what I'm riding is not a non-adjustable. The R model, the more off-road focused one, is fully adjustable front and rear. This, I think, just has a preload adjustment in the rear, and that's all you get. But I don't know if it's the tires or what, but the ride seems, even not on the parkway here, on the main road riding up here, seems a little choppy. Like, the road doesn't look rough, but all the little road imperfections, you feel it just kind of like, vibrating you a little bit. It's not horrible, but I would have thought a bike with, 9 inches of suspension travel like this has, and the other one's closer, the R model's closer to 10, or I think this is maybe close to 9 and the other one's close to 10. I don't remember the difference, sorry. But I would have thought, with that much suspension travel, it'd really be kind of floaty a little bit for off-road riding. Yeah, not so much. Just kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting the wrong thing. Maybe it's the tires. Maybe it's just the road, the way it is. But I don't think so. I think it's just the way the bike feels. It's not a negative. It's just it's a one of those things you're just gonna have to get used to. You can maybe tweak it yourself. You know, if it's your bike. You know, all bikes are changeable, but first impressions. You know, I don't know about you, but if I spend $12,000 US, what this bike retails for, and this is the cheaper one, I think it's $12,500 before tax, anything, just the bike itself. This is $12,500 for this. The R is another $1,000 right at it, so $13,500. That's a lot of money to spend on a motorcycle and have to start changing stuff. You know, it should be. You know, I know some people are going to modify or customize or make it their own, but it's a lot of money to spend on a bike that should be perfect out of the box. But, you know, the motor's really nice. It pulls like at 4,000 RPMs here in fifth gear, 47, 45 miles an hour. Doesn't really complain. Doesn't really start really chugging until it gets down lower, like right there, about 2,500. And then it still has enough grunt to pull itself on out, you know. Does pretty well. The motor is hardly any vibration. My only other negative I can say is these TFT displays, this are both pretty close to the same. The color looks a little different on the bigger bike, the 1290. So this TFT is kind of used on 1290 and this one. But the display reads 12,000 on the tach, right? Well, the bike redlines at like 9,500. See, you can maybe catch that on video. It's kind of disheartening to me, you know, because they use a universal screen. So you're thinking, you know, you're having fun on a back road. You're thinking, oh well, I'm only at 6,000. I'm coming out of this corner. You play a little bit, give a little throttle, and then you hit the rev limiter free and get out of the corner. It's like I thought it had wound up to 12,000. No. But, you know, that's a minor gripe. A lot of people who've ridden for a while, just like me, you shift more by feel more than you really do looking down the gauges a lot, to be honest. You know what the motor feels like underneath. You know how much it wants to pull. You just ride it and adapt, you know. It's not a huge fault, but it is kind of a bummer, I think, you know. That's just my opinion. But overall, you know, bike's liquid cooled, of course. I didn't mention that. Chain driven. Didn't mention that either. Sorry. But you know, I'm really impressed. Even though the seat is really hard on it, it feels hard sitting down. You know, I've been riding it now 30 minutes. I still feel moderately comfortable. I don't know about all day comfort, but you know, for 2 or 3 hours at a time, it'd probably be not too bad. The little hump from the passenger, where it's meant to separate you and the passenger, kind of acts as, I wouldn't say back support, but it keeps you from sliding back in the seat. Too bad. You know, like when you really give it throttle, it helps you keep you playing in the seat pretty well. I like that quite a bit. Bikes overall, really impressed. You know, bike has, like I said, lots of modes. Several street modes. You know, it has street, rain for the throttle. It has, off-road mode. It has off-road ABS. If it's available on it, it has something called rally mode, which is adjustable from 1 to 9. As far as a slip setting, I haven't messed with that. I've just rode the bike because I'm not running off-road. But bike feels really good. I'm really impressed that the handguards are pretty nice, even though they are stock plastic. They do a pretty decent job of keeping a lot of wind off your hands. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with the bike. I've kind of been interested in this genre of bike for a while, and I really like it. And I can touch with the balls of my feet, like the ball of your foot. So about a half foot I can touch with almost. Not too bad. Don't know how much more I could touch on the taller one, but it only like an inch more seat height, maybe an inch and a half. I don't think it would make that much difference. I would still be able to touch, but it would almost be on my tippy toes. Overall, bike's really impressive. I like the gauge readout. It's very intuitive to read, real clear, even direct sunlight. No problem at all. I really can't say anything bad about it. The motor is a parallel twin, a 790cc. It puts out, I believe, 94 horsepower and like 60 pound-feet of torque. So might not be perfect accurate on those numbers, but I'm in the ballpark. The motor feels good. It has two 2 counterbalancing shafts on it, so hardly any vibration at all. I've rode some parallel twins before in the past, and they're way more vibrating than this is. It's pretty nice, good power out of the corner. See, there's from 45 down to 60. It really corners well too. You know, the adventure riding position, really comfort all day. You know, you're basically straight up and down. Your arms are kind of above you, where some bikes your hands are more down like here. You know, as far as if you're belly tucked forward, you're not like that here. My legs or my knees, my knees aren't bent back behind me very much, meaning the peg is more like 90 degrees to me and not like sport bike where they're behind me very much. Foot pegs on this one I'm riding because it's not the off-road one. Have a rubber insert in them, so you can pull that out when you get off-road, I'm guessing, and then you have cleats around that. But the rubber part on is doing a really good job of soaking up, you know, road vibrations, a little bit of vibration from the motor, mainly in the handlebars. Very, very little in the seat. If I grip the tank with my knees, I feel just a tiny bit what would be the gas tank, even though the gas tank's down low, but you know, just where you grip from. But bike, I'm very impressed with it. I don't know how well it'll do. We'll see. But those are my first ride impressions, guys. If you haven't already done so, I mean, if you've liked this ride review, please subscribe for more. I do other kind of moto vlogs as well, not just first ride stuff. Trip videos, rider advice, motorcycle gear reviews, all kind of stuff. But if you like this video, stick around for more. Subscribe, turn on that bell notification, and leave a comment down below if you got any questions about first ride and possession of the bike. I'll do my best to answer them for you. On that, guys, ride safe and have fun. We'll see you on the next one. See you.